time is now 6 o'clock, and the August 11th, 2026 Kingsport City Schools Board of Education regular business meeting is now called to order. Afternoon, Dr. True.
Good afternoon.
Who do you have with us?
I have two very special guests from Roosevelt Elementary. We're going to ask if they want to come up. This is Kameron and Kylie Sheppard. Come on down. After a busy day at Roosevelt, they have come to join us to help us with the pledge. We were chatting earlier. Seemed like the year was off to a good start, right, guys? So, Kylie, you are in what grade?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade. So, what has the first week and 2 days of fourth grade been like?
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff. So, who's your teacher?
Miss Walters.
Miss Walters. So what kind of things do you really enjoy about being at school? Is you have a favorite subject or anything that would be thing you would say is the highlight of your day at Roosevelt?
My friends.
Your friends? Very good. You have a lot of good friends in your classroom? Very good. And Kameron, you are in what grade?
First.
First grade. So I'll hold in my head what I think I'm going to guess is your favorite thing to do at school. What's your favorite part of school?
Math.
Math, excellent, nice. I was wondering if it was math or reading, excellent. So when you guys aren't at school, when you're at home, weekend, where will we find you? What do you like to do? Any particular hobbies or anything you'd like to do?
Play softball.
Play softball, what about you?
Play baseball.
Softball and baseball. So you spend a lot of time heading to games and practices and things as well. Exactly. Well, I know you're really busy with that kind of stuff, obviously in school, but so we're very pleased and thankful that you decided to take part of your evening with us and lead us in the pledge. So we're going to ask everyone if you would please stand. The flag is right behind us, folks. Okay. So when you're ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kylie and Kameron. At this time, I will ask for a motion to accept the agenda, which includes the consent agenda. Once the agenda is accepted, the board mutually agrees not to discuss any item of business or take any action that has not been accepted for this agenda. Is there a motion to accept?
Second. Mine's not coming up. Did yours go up?
Yeah. Okay, motion passes. On to the recognitions. Ms. Jackson.
All right, I've been excited about this all day. As many of you guys know, I'm a former special education teacher, so to be able to honor these students and employees tonight is just the highest honor I could think of. Our school, KCS, with employees and students, traveled to Minnesota to represent Team Tennessee in the Special Olympics USA Games. They were held at the University of Minnesota this past June. Anthony Walker, if you could come forward. I would love to recognize you. He's a KCS employee at Robinson Middle School. He represented Tennessee in swimming. He won gold medals in the 500-yard medley, the 4x50 relay, and the 100-meter butterfly, in which he set a new Special Olympic record. Let's recognize Anthony. Wonderful. Anthony, if you'll just step forward and stay right there, I want to bring everyone else up as well. The interscholastic track team was made up of 4 students from Dobyns-Bennett High School and 4 students from Valor Collegiate Academy in Nashville. 2 athletes and 2 partners from each school represented Tennessee and KCS beautifully, taking 4th place in the team competition. Are those athletes here tonight? Would they come forward, please? I've got some recognition. Thank you. Would you tell me your name? Hunter Bars and Ellie Stokes, is that right? This is Hunter and this is Ellie, and they did many other things, so I've got all kinds of recognition still to go. Hunter Bars here, he placed 3rd in the 4x100 and 5th in the 200 meter. Congratulations. Is Emma Bricky here tonight? All right, if you'll come forward. She placed 1st in the 200 meter and 5th in the long jump. Congratulations. And then Ellie Stokes placed 1st in the long jump and 1st in the 100 meter. Congratulations. And Reed Riggins, is Reed here tonight? I remember you from my daughter's class. He placed 1st in the shot put, 3rd in the 4x100, and 2nd in the 200 meter. Congratulations. If you guys would step forward, we'll get a picture.
Also want to congratulate Coach Sarah Good, who was unable to be here tonight, and sends her regrets. But she's very, very proud of these student athletes and how well they represented not only our community but our state.
This meeting is all downhill from here. That's the most exciting thing that we do at these meetings. Thank you, Anthony. All right. Now is the time for public comment. Any person wishing to address the Board of Education during the public comment portion of the regular board meeting will have an opportunity to sign up immediately prior to the 6 o'clock meeting. Prior to notification of intent to speak is not necessary but recommended. Per Board Policy 1.404, those who have signed up may speak for a total of 3 minutes. Before addressing the board, the speaker shall state his or her full name, address, including zip code. The public comment period will last no more than 30 minutes in total, unless the board waives the limits upon considering a request for extension made prior to the president's announcement for public comment. Please address the board as a whole, and please note that the board will not respond to public comment or questions. Profane language, making threats, or revealing confidential student or staff information will not be allowed. Comments regarding personnel or personnel matters are not germane and therefore not allowed during the public comment period. Speakers may not refer to students by name without permission from the parent or guardian. Groups representing a common viewpoint are encouraged to select one spokesperson. All comments during this period of time are and will remain a matter of public record. Mr. Browder. Welcome.
Is this on? Yep. Thank you, guys, once again. Derek Browder, Lynnview Pee Wee football. Once again, 5.3 is talking about Lynnview Community Center / the new elementary school. Once again, I was corrected. I have always asked, which diagram are we going to go with? I have been informed that y'all do not make the decisions, is what I was told, that y'all just make a recommendation. So my question once again is, can we get a notification of which recommendation you guys are thinking about going with? This is not actually the final part. And then part number 2 is there will be a name selected for the new, as it's been produced, Lynnview Community Elementary School. My question is, how will we decide what name it is? I know the City Board of Education policy is to do a former dead president that's worthy. Can we go outside the box? How would we go outside the box and go back? Everybody that's talked about this new Lynnview, Lynn Garden Community Elementary School has saying it's going to be Pride, it's going to be Pride. Can we go with a school name of Lynn Garden Elementary School? And if we do, what would we have to do to get the chapter, whatever policies in place to do that? Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Browder. Let's see here. All righty. Business, right? Was there someone else signed up? I believe there were 2 names. Anyone else? No? Sometimes people get confused and think it's just an attendance record. So, okay. If there's no further comment, we're on to the business items. Mr. Fry? Second. Right now is, if anybody wants to take just a couple of minutes and leave, if you're not interested in the business portion of the meeting, we completely understand. Thank you all for coming. We're so proud of you all for what you do and for the example that you set. Sorry, Mr. Fry.
Good evening. I've got 4 items for your consideration this evening. First one is the approval to purchase 16 box lights from Central Technologies at a cost of $3,373 each for a total purchase of $53,968. We'll be utilizing the TIPS USA contract to purchase these box lights. And you can see that they're being installed at various schools. And the reason why it's not at one school, it's at all these various schools, is that this is the first time that we really have had a system-wide replacement of these devices, of our video devices in the classrooms. We budgeted, I have to look in Mr. Golden's budget book here to see now, but we budgeted an amount of money this year for the first time, trying to get a recurring replacement going for these items. And Mr. Arnold has identified classrooms that have some really old TVs in them, like a dozen years old, that we're trying to get in and replace the oldest equipment first. I would recommend your approval of this purchase.
And this is the first time that any of them have been replaced?
Well, I wouldn't say
remember,
that we haven't, but this is the first time that we've had a system-wide appropriation to start the replacement process and get into a cycle of replacing these devices. I'm sure that there have been one or two that have been replaced along the way, but.
Right. Okay. Any questions, comments? No. Okay. The recommended action is to approve the purchase of 16 box lights from Central Technologies Incorporated for a total cost of $53,968 utilizing the TIPS USA contract. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion carries. Next item.
Next item is a recommendation to award the bid for the Robinson Middle School freezer replacement. We advertised bids on July the 1st and opened bids on August the 5th. There were, I believe, 2 bids received for the replacement of the walk-in freezer at Robinson Middle School. This is an older, undersized freezer that just it's time to replace it. We've had Rick Lutz, senior architect with Kane Rash West, working on the design of the project. The low bid came in from Maven Construction LLC at a cost of $155,000. So with an architect fee of $11,000 and a 6% contingency of $9,300, the total project cost will be $175,300. This is being funded from the School Nutrition Services budget. So we would recommend approval to award this bid to Maven Construction LLC.
The recommended action is to award the bid for the Robinson Middle School freezer replacement to Maven Construction for a cost of $155,000, authorizing a 6% contingency of $9,300 and rejecting all other bids. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion carries.
Next item I have is recommendation to award the bid for the demolition of the Lynn View Community Center and partial site development for the new elementary school. We advertised for bids on June the 27th, and we opened bids on July the 29th. This project consists of a couple of different phases. First of all, the asbestos abatement in the facility that is there, the Lynn Garden Community Center, and then the demolition of that building, and then the site development on the north side of Walker Street, which is the side that the community center is located on now, and that has some site work there, a lot of road work. It's a road work extension going up and the road work coming around and widening those roads to 3 lanes, or basically 2 lanes with a parking lane. And this work is scheduled to be completed by September 1st of 2027. And the plan is, of course, by that time to have an agreement in place and bids for the construction of the new school. There were 5 bids received on the project. There was 1 bid from Rezar Demolition, and with a very low bid of $445,000, and that was just strictly for the demolition of the school. So that bid was not considered. It didn't take into account the full project scope. But all the bids were. This was a very competitive bid package. The low bid of $2,780,000, and then the high bid of $3,101,000. So we felt like we got good bids on this. But the low bid of $2,780,000 came from Construction Partners, which is the firm that is currently doing the renovation work at Dobyns-Bennett right now. So we're familiar with their work, and they've done a very good job this summer working on the renovation at Dobyns-Bennett. I don't think I have anything really necessarily else to say on that, other than we would recommend awarding the bid to Construction Partners in the amount of $2,780,000 and authorizing a 6% contingency of $166,800. And with the architect fee, that would bring the total project cost to $3,215,000. I will say, though, that the cost of the estimate for this work was $4 million. And I had allocated for the construction and a contingency of $240,000. So I had allocated in the project, $4,240,000 for this project. So obviously we're in a pretty good time frame for bidding for this type of work.
And just to be clear, in your description, you talk about the building demolition and partial site development. It's only partial because that is only on the north side of Walker, which the entirety is, of course, south of Walker.
It's only on the north side of Walker Street. The school, excuse me, the school itself is located on the south side of Walker Street, which of course is where the football field is currently located right now. So we're not doing any work on the south side of Walker Street. Walker Street will remain open during the phase of this project while we build the extension that goes up the hill and some of the road work around it. Once we start the construction of the new school, Walker Street will be closed.
I was just going to ask, so this is the same company that has done the work or is doing the work at Dobyns-Bennett?
Yes.
Have there been any issues with anything there?
No, they have been very, very good to work with. A tremendous amount of work has occurred over the summer. The flooring was removed in the 3 pods, including the art wing. New flooring was put down. Lockers were removed. It's been painted. Everything was done on schedule or slightly ahead of schedule. We weren't rushing to get things finished so that we could open school. We were probably done maybe a few days ahead of time to allow teachers to get back in and get their rooms ready. We've been pleased with their work.
Okay.
They're currently working in the old science pod, or what we call the annex, doing demolition in there. But that work is scheduled to be completed by the end of the first semester.
Any other discussion or questions? The recommended action is to award the bid and enter into an agreement with construction partners in the amount of $2,780,000 with an authorization of a 6% contingency of $166,800 and reject all other bids. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion. Or second.
Well, I keep saying okay, and it comes right back up. There you go. Pass, Vicki. Motion passes.
And the final item I have for you this evening is the approval of payment to Gateway Music Festivals and Tours in the amount of $95,659.80. This will be to fund the transportation for band students, staff, and chaperones to attend the 100th anniversary of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. These funds we've identified temporarily some funding within our budget. I will more than likely bring a budget amendment back to you in a couple of months, but in the interest of time to get a payment made, we'll identify some funds in our budget at the current time. So we would recommend that you approve this payment.
The recommended action is to approve entering into an agreement with Gateway Music Festivals and Tours for an amount not to exceed $95,659.80. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Fry.
Thank you.
Drew.
Good evening. Appreciate the opportunity to come to you tonight with one recommendation on a policy revision, and this is 1.200, internal organization. This specific revision is being proposed in order to align our policies with city charter and a recent change to that to really address board elections and shifting the board elections from August to September at the recommendation of City Attorney Bob Rowlett, who is here tonight and can answer questions if you have questions about that specific revision. So I'll invite him to the table if you'd like, Mr. Rowlett, and he'll be able to walk us through this.
Good evening. So back in December, of course, I had come before the board to advise that there was going to be changes to the city charter to, in part, realign not only the election of the vice mayor for the board of mayor and aldermen, but also the president of this board as a result of the change in the municipal elections from a May date to an August election date. Previously, both vice mayor and the president of this body was elected in July after the newly elected officials had taken office. And so we made that charter change to try and sync up where both bodies had been before of elections at the time that then those new members took office. And understand there may be some question or concern. There isn't a specific month mentioned in the private act that was passed to amend the charter. I may have outsmarted myself there, but in recent years, there has been talk of further realigning local elections to potentially even matching up with the federal election cycle. And so in an attempt to not have to go back to the General Assembly at some time in the future to match up the election of the internally appointed officials with a new election date, just had simply referenced that the election would of a president would occur after the election, which of course, my view of that, the election day is of course where everybody puts their emphasis, but there is still time before the election is completed in the form of the certification of the election. The result you get that night is an unofficial result. There's still a process that the Election Commission goes through before they have a certified election result. So that's why the charter change was made as it was, and why we have recommended the changes you see before you on the policy. I'm happy to answer any questions and apologize if there was any confusion created, but hopefully that gives you some understanding as to the method to the madness as to how we got where we are. So
I had a couple of questions. So
yes, ma'am.
One, I think you have answered now, because in the charter, it says the first meeting after the election, after the general election, which that would be this meeting. But you're saying because the election may not be certified, I don't know if it is or not. I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea if it's already certified. I guess Jason could tell us that, but I don't know how long that takes or if it has happened.
So, and I would defer to Mr. Boer. My reading of state law is the county election commission has up until the third Monday after the date of the election
Okay.
to certify.
Okay.
Now, if he tells you otherwise, I will happily defer to him because that is far more his forte than it is mine. But that's my understanding. And so if you did have some kind of a situation where there was a contested result or, whatever happens, you may not, by the time of the second Tuesday of the month, have the certified result and therefore the completed election.
Okay. And then the other thing, I guess, that would give me cause for pause is, for example, what if your current president and vice president, which that could have happened this year, if neither one of them were reelected, who would lead your next meeting? Do you just cross that bridge if you ever come to it? That's one concern. I mean, that
Right.
could have theoretically happened this election. And then, so don't get any bright ideas in 2 years. But let's say you had 3 brand new people who are coming in. That's a lot, for someone to step into making a decision on the president, and they're getting sworn in and then immediately voting on who's going to be their officers.
We've had that before. Yeah, we've had new board members come on immediately, and then they had to vote the very next meeting.
Yeah, that's the way it was. I understand your concern.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Practicalities, I don't know that I could really address. That was the way historically, though, the process worked, was that the election of the president occurred at that July meeting at which the new officers the new elected officials were sworn in.
Okay.
So
somewhere along the way, I guess it just got shifted.
I think I don't think the shift from the May to the August election date caused a deviation in the last couple of years that sort of went unnoticed, I would say, or at least by me. I'll take the blame for that.
Okay. Well, no. Ever since I've been on the board, it's been voted on. Like the first year, I didn't vote when I came in on July 1. That decision had already been made, which honestly was probably a good idea because I was brand new coming on,
Right.
And so I didn't have any problem with it, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I understand. Yeah. I'm just hoping the what ifs never happen, but I'm not sure what we would do if neither officer was reelected.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you know what would happen?
The way I would advise that process is that the first item of business at the meeting would be to hold that election for a president to then immediately lead the meeting. And there would be time between the certification of the election, if there was a lag, in that first meeting where board members could be all newly elected. I know Mr. Billingsley and I have tried to keep up with the practice, send information out to board members and do everything I can to make myself as available as possible to answer any questions. So if it was somebody new to the board that was elected president, then the support could be provided for them to get through that meeting.
But who would actually call the meeting to order? Let's say neither one of us got elected. So the September meeting, and I'm playing the devil's advocate here, but I'm just trying to, let's say neither of us were reelected, and so September 1, who would call that meeting to order? We would.
I'd have to look a little bit, but I think a member could call the meeting to order.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that never happens.
Well, yes,
I hope we're never put in that position.
Well, but no, you raise a great point. Any member could call it, but you do need to designate so that there's not 5 people saying, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll do it. Mm-hmm. We do need to actually come up with wording as to who it would fall to. Or could the superintendent call the meeting to order?
I'd have to look at that a little bit more, if To alleviate that concern, there is no, I don't recall any provision I know there is no charter provision to a vice president or subsequent vice presidents. And I don't recall any provision in state law that limits that. So if it was even an issue, you could have, a first vice president and a second vice president.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not trying to make work for
No,
anybody.
you're fine.
No, but it needs to be addressed. No, I mean, it's a great point because it needs to be codified because otherwise you could run into that.
Or maybe they didn't want to run again. Maybe the current officers decide, I'm not going to run again. And then there's no one to call the meeting.
Well, now, in that situation, the individual could just resign their position as president of the board, and in the absence of one, vice president serve, or the board could move for an election of the replacement of the open position. If you knew somebody in
Same thing, though.
advance.
There's still nobody.
I know what she's actually saying is like, who would actually call this thing? Who would sit there and gavel this thing in and start it? That's the question. So if there's not a president and vice president, it would need to fall to somebody on the board.
But it's just it's like call the meeting to order and then let's
Election
vote.
of
Let's
officers.
vote.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's all you're saying.
if there
is
was
like
a
two
concern-
sentences. I can't imagine
Yeah.
there would be a coup
Well,
to like fight about who's going to say one sentence. I mean,
no, I would not put that past. No.
but if anybody could, it wouldn't.
Dude, I've worked with people.
That's where the appointment of a second vice president, I think, would alleviate that.
You could, the easiest one would be, you could either say the junior member or the senior member and just pick one and put it in the policy and just say, this person would be the one that would call it to order, that would gavel it in. That way it just clears it up, because if it can't be the superintendent, if it's got to be one of the 5 members, then that would be my recommendation.
Maybe you could just say a sitting board member.
Yeah, but you got to designate one. You cannot
You
just.
have to have 4 because we have these cycles where 3 people are elected and then all 3 of us could not be elected.
Yeah,
And then you're down to
if you do not do it, I do not trust some people that they would not try and sit in the chair and pull some kind of chicanery on doing that. I just don't trust that.
Sorry, I've made this more complicated.
No, ma'am.
than
You
it
have
should
not.
be.
You've actually, that was an issue I never thought of, so I appreciate you bringing it up. So I would recommend that we amend that to designate, there must be some type of wording in the designation as to who that would fall to gavel it in. And this is may never happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but I think this board would have made it at least sometime from the 80s up until the 2020s without that happening, because that was the cycle before.
Previously, okay.
Yeah, and I don't know that,
I didn't
I obviously
think it
wasn't
create-
representing the city throughout that entire period. I wasn't
You
even
were barely
licensed to practice law for that period, but I don't know that ever became an issue, but I can't sit here and tell you that it didn't, for sure, so.
You know what? We'll take our chances, I guess.
Okay.
It will. After making a mess, I'm trying to sweep it up. Sorry.
No. We can offer some suggestions, and that's not too heavy of a lift to bring back before the
But
board.
don't we really need to do this tonight?
I would suggest that if we don't make a change tonight, we will be out of compliance with our policy, because the policy would continue to read that you're going to elect a president at the August meeting. So I guess my question would be, could we go ahead and pass as is tonight, and we can go back and look
Yeah.
at wording
Yeah.
for a future revision?
Yeah, I agree.
in the interim?
I think that's a great idea.
The recommended action is to approve revised policy 1.2 for internal organization on first and final reading. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Oh gosh. Let me read refresh mine, Vivian. Again.
You're welcome.
I'll see it. There we go. All right, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. True. Thanks, Bart.
You're welcome.
All righty. Dr. Hampton?
I'll be brief tonight. I'll start by welcoming our board back and congratulations to our president and vice president who were newly elected to another term on the board. I am very much looking forward to working with you in this upcoming term. I want to welcome our most importantly, our students and our teachers, all of our employees back to a new school year. I have heard repeatedly what a great and smooth start to the year it has been. I will say in the 4 starts that I've had in this role, it has been the smoothest for me. And so that is to the credit of all those around us and to all the work that goes on at our individual schools to make that happen. We brought back or had the opportunity to hire this year. I think we are approaching 70 new employees, which 55 of those were new teachers, and that is a recent era low for us, which is a wonderful thing to say. That, you know, once, if you'll remember back in just following the pandemic, we were hitting triple digits on the number of teachers we were hiring for a couple of years, and to have 55 is a really good number, and several of our schools had no new teachers to bring on, so that which was great. We also brought in a behavior specialist, a librarian, speech language pathologist, 3 counselors into the district, 2 district members, 2 district curriculum and instruction members. One of those is a grant position, and one of those is replacing a retiree. 1 new principal and 7 associate/assistant principals into the district. So that a little heavier on the administrative side than we typically have, but we had several administrators elevate into promoted positions, which opened up their positions for new hires. So very excited about that. I shared with you in the update, your board update last week, our first week enrollment trends and how those compared to previous years. We've continued to track those. Mr. Nash updates me on those daily, and we are still slightly down from a year ago with our enrollment, with the most significant decline happening at our elementary levels, slight decline at the high school level, and then an increase in student enrollment at the middle school level. That elementary level is really centrally focused at the kindergarten level, and that appears to be a regional trend this year. As I've consulted with superintendents around the region, that those kindergarten numbers appear to be lower, and we haven't been able to dig in far enough to exactly know what might be attributing to that. But still, as of today, we have just slightly over 7,300 students enrolled in our district. It's slightly up from what I reported to you last Friday. And then the last thing I have is just, it seems like this happened weeks ago, and it did, but we haven't had the chance to be together since then, formally recognizing Dobyns-Bennett on earning the status of Model PLC School. They are the only high school in Tennessee to earn that honor, and one of only 83 high schools in the world to have that honor. And so Model PLC really, because many would not know what that means, it's professional learning community, and it is a planning process that focuses on, first and foremost, student learning, second, a data orientation, and third, collaboration, learning together and getting better together. And it is a process that works, and schools who do it with fidelity see significant improvement. And we have seen significant improvement in our schools that have demonstrated the most fidelity to those practices. And so kudos to Dobyns-Bennett. That's quite an honor to have reached that status, because that application is no easy feat. So I commend them on that. They joined Jefferson and Adams on that list, and I have a suspicion that there will be a couple of additional schools in Kingsport that are added to the list in this upcoming year. There are only 16 model PLC schools in the state of Tennessee. 3 are in Kingsport. 11 combined are in Williamson County and Collierville. So that is pretty elite company to be in. So congratulations to those who make that honor happen. That'll be it.
Thank you, Dr. Hampton.
Hey, Brandon, I have
Anybody else? Jamie,
one really great thing I'd like to share with the public and with the board, just in case you didn't know. But our food nutrition program served over 100,000 meals over the summer to families. These were in the form of like a box meal, so they could be sent home. So I don't know if any of you guys drove by the schools and wondered what all of the traffic was. Dr. Hampton and I might have wondered for a moment at Rock Springs. But those were families that were lined up to receive meals that they could take home and feed their families. So I just have to say it again, over 100, almost 103,000 meals were served just in the 2 months that students were out to make sure that our kids don't go hungry. So I just got to say, private schools aren't doing that. A lot of other private organizations are not doing that, but Kingsport City Schools is doing that. So I think that's a great thing.
And someone posed a question to me of all the schools, why did you choose Adams as your distribution point? That perhaps doesn't make sense. But the stipulation of that grant is that it had to be a rural school. And Adams is the only school in Kingsport City Schools that fits that definition based on geographic location. So Adams is considered a rural school, and so that's where we had to do the distribution. But it didn't deter people.
No.
They were literally from Adams to
Oh, so that was the only site. Okay, that's why it was so backed up.
Yeah. From Adams to Miss Jackson's house.
Yeah.
Every Thursday it was backed up. So kudos to the school level folks who contributed to that work, and we partnered with the YMCA on that as well. The boxes were assembled at the Y and distributed at Adams.
It was assembled by YMCA employees?
Yes.
But I was gonna say joint project, but it was like our food, and Jennifer Walker was over it.
Gotcha. I understand. All right. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you, Dr. Hampton.
I love good news.
Our next dates and times of our meetings, we'll have our August work session on the 25th, our regular business meeting in September on the 8th, and then our business meet, or excuse me, I messed that up. I got it right. The September 8th will be our regular business meeting. The 14th, we will have the fall district meeting. And then on the 22nd will be our work session in September. So, all right. All hearts clear. We're adjourned. Roll Tribe.